Welcome back to the Boardman Black and Gold podcast with Zane and David. All right, David, let's get a little game out of the way before we start. Can we play a little game as we get started with this week 6 episode?
Sure, I'd love to.
All right, let's go. Let's talk about who had what rating. I'm going to read you a stat line, and I want you to figure out who had that rating for the past Steelers-Browns game. All right, here's the first one. 84.9 was the PFF rating for this individual who had 6 pressures, 2 pass breakups, 5 tackles, and a half a sack. Who had that PFF rating of 84.9?
Was it?
Don't overthink it. Don't
Derek
overthink
Harmon?
No, don't overthink it.
Kirby?
Don't overthink it. You're overthinking it.
Wait. No way, it's one of our big guys.
Don't overthink it. That's all I'm telling you.
Highsmith?
No, you're
What?
still overthinking it.
Wait. Oh man, Patrick Queen.
Oh my gosh, David, 6 pressures, 2 pass breakups, 5 tackles, a half a sack. He's an edge rusher. He's the best in the league.
Oh, TJ Watt?
Thank you. Oh, he has an 84.9 rating. Now, here's our second question for this specific segment.
Oh my goodness. I was never going to say TJ Watt because of that rating. I was like, what?
That's what it is. Now, here's the second one, the most important one. Now, this guy had 1 pressure and 2 assisted tackles, and his PFF rating was an 89.8. Again, this is the whole game, not just the Steelers, but also the Browns, who had 1 pressure and 2 assisted tackles and had an 89.8 rating.
Myles Garrett?
Oh, would you look at that? Myles Garrett with a better PFF rating than TJ Watt. What are we doing, PFF? Hello? What is going on? And then now here's a bonus question. Which offensive lineman had a 55 PFF grade this week? Which offensive lineman had a 55 PFF grade this week? Which is terrible, by the way.
Who? I don't know the tackle's name, but who is it against TJ Watt?
It was not the guy against TJ Watt, I'll tell you that.
Is it a Browns low lineman?
No, it's not. It's actually a Steelers O lineman.
Is it Broderick Jones?
It's Broderick Jones. Explain that to me. Myles Garrett did absolutely nothing in this game, and PFF is glazing him out the wazoo, giving Broderick Jones a 55 grade. He didn't give up a single sack in the entire game. Myles Garrett had 1 pressure. TJ Watt's flying all over the field, and Myles Garrett still has a better grade than TJ Watt. Talk to me about that, David. What's going on here?
That's actually insane. That's the truth, because I think that statistically TJ Watt over the whole season, these 5 games, is playing better. I think there's so many points. Myles Garrett was invisible this game. He was a non-factor, did absolutely nothing against Broderick Jones, who albeit is getting better, but has had issues since game 1. I do not understand how he is higher than TJ Watt when TJ Watt, week in and week out, especially these past 3 weeks, has been showing up and lighting up the stats. Myles Garrett's done nothing. Myles Garrett was just recently quoted. He said about the Steelers pass rush, must be nice. Do we just live rent-free right in their heads, and yet we're still... How? This just takes me back to 2023 when they were absolutely abysmal in giving the Defensive Player of the Year award to Myles Garrett, not TJ Watt, who TJ Watt beat him in basically every single defensive statistic. It blows my mind that we're in this place again.
Every single year. It's a continuous discourse, and in the games where Myles Garrett is on full display, one-on-one against TJ Watt, he does not produce. He, like you said, he was completely invisible. And you know what? There was one play, and we're going to get to start talking about the overall complexion of the game, but there was one play where Aaron Rodgers literally outran him. Do you remember that play that he pitched it to Jaylen Warren?
Oh yeah, that was a great play. I didn't know it was Myles Garrett, but that's insane. The guy, who the heck was it? He could have been any other Browns player. There was nothing about him that made me think that was Myles Garrett right there, the one that I'm a little worried about. No, he was a non-factor. I mean, we didn't even need a game plan for him. Maybe we did game plan for him. I don't know. It didn't really look like it, but it didn't look like we needed to because he did nothing.
Well, Broderick Jones really stepped up, and that was kind of one of the things that we were a little concerned about because we came
Yeah.
into this week being very privy to the fact that the Browns defense is very good. I mean, you can't deny that the Browns defense overall has been exceptional this season. And, it was a little bit of a trap game in my mind. I think you were also a little bit wary, when we first talked, we're talking about this last week. But the Steelers, they didn't really do much in the first half. They got points on the board with some field goals. But over the course of the game, you just saw that the Steelers were a much better team than the Cleveland Browns. And it was actually the Steelers defense, I think, that really led the way this week. What do you think about that?
Oh, I absolutely agree. And the game turned out exactly how I thought it would. We, right before the game, we'd forgotten game, score predictions, and you asked me, and I said it was going to be 19-9. And I was pretty close. I knew it was going to be, when we came out there and first two drives were field goals, or was it first three drives? I can't remember. But a lot of the early points were field goals. And I was like, yeah, the Browns defense is great. We know that. I'm not going to deny that, even though they're struggling in a lot of other places. But yeah, I think our defense really paved the way. And I think that Dylan Gabriel is underrated right now based off these two performances because I think he had a really good game against Minnesota. And I mean, he's a rookie guy playing his second game. Granted, he has the most college starts ever. But 52 pass attempts, that's not going to get it done. And that goes to show. And yeah, you said defense. Our defense was unbelievable. This run game was heating up for the Cleveland Browns. This was something that each week after each week it was like, oh my gosh, Quinshon Judkins, he's getting better and better. They've got Jerome Ford who they like this past round, Dylan Sampson, another rookie. It's like this run game. This is how we want to play the game. We want to run the ball more and take the pressure off of Dylan Gabriel's arm. We made them do the exact opposite of what they wanted to do. This run game was non-existent. I'm not sure how many yards they had on the ground, but if I had to guess, I'd say it was 50 or less.
It was 65. They had 17 carries for 65 yards. Quinshon Judkins carried it 12 times for 36 yards. I mean, that's 3 yards a carry. So, yeah. I mean, Jerome Ford had one big run of 12 yards, and other than that, they did absolutely nothing on the ground.
Yeah, and then that's what and this is, I think, where our, strength relies is when someone plays the game like we play our game. Mike Tomlin plays his team focused on the defense, and the offense just tries, not to mess it up. And the best way for an offense to pair with an amazing defense is to have an amazing run game. And I think we knew that, and we absolutely shut it down from the get-go. And I got to say, Patrick Queen is on fire. He lit it up again this week. He had a ton. He had a couple pass deflections, which is why I guessed him because he made a couple clutch ones. And he made some plays behind the line. I think that this defense as a whole looked complete. And, I mean, just, again, the Browns are 1-5, so they don't have the best offense. It's a rookie quarterback. We made him throw it 52 times, which, I mean, that is a recipe for disaster for the Browns. But, I mean, our defense played pretty much perfect.
Well, I think that is a testament to what we're trying to do, as the Steelers whole, as we're trying to get forward, especially into a bigger and a deeper schedule. But if the defense looks this dominant against the Cleveland Browns, I mean, they could have given up a touchdown at the end of the first half. But they kept him out of the end zone. And I think that part of that was, some big sacks as well as a couple of nice pass deflections. And I mean, what do you want to do against a rookie quarterback? You want to just make life miserable for him. And that's exactly what they did all game long. In the secondary, the coverage was good. The Browns receivers didn't really help Dylan Gabriel out a lot. They had a lot of dropped passes in a lot of ways. But at the same time, I mean, everybody was up in his business. Patrick Queen, I believe, he did not have a sack, but I mean, again, he's just blowing up plays all over the place. Jalen Ramsey had 2 sacks, both of which were massive hits on Dylan Gabriel, which I absolutely loved. And he came out after the game, he said, I played in a game with TJ Watt and Myles Garrett, and I had 2 sacks. He says that's going to be something that I tell my kids about, which, rightly so. I mean, that's a big deal. And I don't think he'd ever had more than 1 sack in a game ever. And that just shows how versatile he is. And I mean, Mike Tomlin just can't speak enough good about Jalen Ramsey, which, I mean, this is looking to be a home run trade that, we're really benefiting from, especially in these first 6 weeks or so.
Oh, absolutely. I think that, when the trade happened, we were upset to see Minka go, but he wasn't doing enough. And I think that we both were I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what he puts out on the field. if he does what we know he can do, it's an amazing trade, and he's doing it, and then some. Really playing every position in the secondary and making plays at every facet of defense, sacks, fumbles, interceptions. He's got it all. And so I can't believe how amazing. I mean, as much as, I loved Minka, he is such an upgrade from Minka. I mean, it's at least a play every game. It's honestly like 2 plays every game. And it's just been so impactful. I think that this defense, I think it's really helped Joey Porter. I think that Joey Porter being back, I think that was like a tangible difference. He played so well. He had a great game. Darius Slay had a great game, even though he was battling with, I think it was a hamstring thing going on. I Pierre was in there, but literally, I can't name a defensive player that had a bad game for us.
Right. I mean, I completely agree. I'm looking at the stat sheet right now. I mean, everybody was involved in the tackling game. We had 6 tackles for loss, 6 sacks. I mean, it was just a great game overall. And we talked about it after the Vikings game that we kind of came out of it a little bit sour. And we're like, we wish that this could have been that dominant win that we were looking for. The score, I don't think in this game, 23-9, I don't think that really indicates how dominant this game was. I mean, I never really did I ever feel disgruntled during this game. I felt confident during this game. And I don't even think I was super confident before the game. Because I think I was talking back and forth with you. And I actually got to watch the game with Joseph this week, which was awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
But we were saying, this could be a real train wreck if it gets off the rails quickly. And it just never did. We set the tone on the very first play. We throw that little fade to Darnell Washington, kind of him slipping through the line. That was an awesome play to start the game. And it really set the tone. And it was just all going right from there. And we never slowed down. And that was very encouraging to me. Again, you said it, it's the 1-5 Browns, but at some point you got to be happy about a win, right?
Oh, absolutely. Especially because it's a divisional game. Again, if you're playing a 1-4 team that's not in your division, yeah, you should beat them hands down. There's no excuse there. But if anybody's in your division, anything can happen. We know that with division games, with rivalries. So, I don't want to take it for granted, especially because they haven't beaten us at home in a regular season game in 23.
It's been since 2003, so 22 years.
Okay, 22 years, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you want to keep that. It was awesome. And what you said, we didn't slow down. I think we sped up. I think that throughout the game, I knew it was going to start slow just because of how both of our defenses are. But, I am loving Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith's play calling and communication. I mean, that first play call was amazing. I loved it. It was perfect. You know what? I'm fine. Even though he's on my fantasy team, I'm fine if you don't want to use Freiermuth. If you're going to use Washington like that, go for it. Because that was awesome. And DK Metcalf, again, ton of targets, ton of catches, which is what we need, especially without Calvin Austin. Shout out to Roman Wilson, who I think made his first catch ever, and it was a good play. So that was really cool. I think that offensively, there's a lot of things to like here as well. And I think, there's just so many things to like. Especially the guy who we've been down on all year, Connor Hayward, with a great catch in the end zone.
Oh, that throw and that catch was unbelievable. Rodgers throwing across his body. Rodgers made a couple of bad throws in the game. He missed DK for a wide open touchdown. He just completely underthrew him. He also missed Darnell Washington on one play where, he just didn't put it, Washington was wide open and he just didn't drop it in the bucket. But those are two microcosms of a larger picture. I mean, Rodgers he delivers such a good football. And going back to what your dad was saying a couple of weeks ago when we had that episode with him, I mean, it is fun to watch him throw the football. And this was one of those weeks where he was just slinging it around. I mean, like we said on that one play where he outran Myles Garrett, I mean, he was using his legs a little bit too. He was not completely stationary back there. And I think a product of that is because he wasn't really under pressure a whole lot. I thought the offensive line did a heck of a job with the Browns front because they didn't give up a sack in this game, which is unreal. Did you even know that?
I didn't know that. We didn't give up a sack with Myles Garrett.
They didn't give up a sack at all.
Oh my goodness. How the heck is he higher than TJ Watt? When you've got a guy who's been under duress all 4 games that he's been playing, And Myles Garrett, one of the best pass rushers in the league. He's the anchor of this defense. Gets nothing. No one gets anything. I mean, it's absurd. It's just absurd.
Broderick Jones locking him down was like the greatest thing about this game. Sure, the fact that we won, that's awesome, but the fact that Broderick Jones just put him on an island and said, no, sir, you're not doing nothing today, that just really made me happy.
I mean, yeah, Broderick Jones has won me over these past two games with in Minnesota when he's, following the play, recovering the fumble from Aaron Rodgers, and then also when Calvin Austin gets hurt, being the first guy there, always being the first guy to defend the other players, and then this week absolutely clamping down Myles Garrett. Oh my goodness. I love him. He's great. He's won me over completely in 2 weeks.
Well, it shows how much he has improved, and I think, we've been hard on him a lot in the last 2 years, but if he's going to be doing this type of stuff week in and week out, then, this is going to be massive for this team. And I think it goes back to the fact that we moved him back to left tackle. Sure, did he have a couple of rough games to start the year? Absolutely. But I think that's just getting him reacclimated to his actual position. And the fact that we never thought, or maybe we did, well, no, we never thought to put him in his actual position until this year when we had a vacancy at that position. So I think it just goes to say that, when you play players where they're supposed to play, they do pretty darn good.
Right. And I think that, I want to give some credit to Mike Tomlin here. And I think that this game is cause, and these past two games is cause for real, I think, hope for Pittsburgh. I hope we don't eat our words tomorrow, but I think this is real hope because, I know that I'm super down on Mike Tomlin, but he's the head coach of my favorite team ever. So, of course, I want him to succeed because then our team will succeed. And I still think he had some mistakes with clock management this game, which it's just going to happen with him. But I think that what we've seen, especially in these past few years, but just overall as him, is that our players can't be developed, right? We can't make our players better than when they come in. We don't improve. We don't adjust. We'll start 10-3. We'll start 11-0. And then people figure us out and we collapse and we can't figure it out. Well, even though we started 2-1 or 1-1, we didn't look that good. And people were kind of figuring things out. But it looks like we're figuring things out over these past 2 weeks. And it looks like Broderick Jones has gotten better and has gotten developed, which is historic in the past 10 years we have not been able to do. So I think that oh my goodness, he's gotten better. Darnell Washington has become, a part of the pass game. Players that we've been we drafted them and they looked good and now they're just going to fall off are improving and getting better. That hasn't happened in years. So I think that is something to be really hopeful going into the rest of the season.
I think so too. And there's a stat that I wanted to throw out there, and I wanted to actually say this last week, but it actually became relevant again this week. The Steelers are 7-0 when Darnell Washington plays more than 40 snaps in a game. Think about that for a second. Yes.
Well, they better keep him in there.
You're right.
And I think that, man, again, I guess credit to Mike Tomlin. When I first heard this on the broadcast, I was a little, I don't know how I feel about it, but hearing that stat too, it makes sense. They, I think Evan Washburn was, because we had Ian Eagle and who's he with?
Was it Watt or no?
Oh yeah, it was Watt.
Okay.
It was Watt. They're a great broadcasting crew, and I think Evan Washburn's their on the ground guy, and he was saying that he talked to Mike Tomlin because he asked why Brad Freiermuth didn't see the field at all last week, and Evan Washburn was like, yeah, Mike Tomlin said we run so many formations where we're in run packages. And it's not fair for Freiermuth, who's a receiving tight end, to be in there when we've got a guy like Darnell Washington, who is more of a blocking tight end. And at first I was like, that's a fair point, but also you want to be able to throw it to your guy who can catch the ball. But after seeing this week and hearing that stat, I'm like, you know what? Maybe that does make a lot of sense. And yeah, when we're going to throw the ball, keep Freiermuth in there. But when we're doing what we've been doing, Washington seems like he's doing he literally, and they talked about this on the broadcast too, he's going to age into an offensive lineman probably. And why wouldn't you use that? Because you don't even have to declare a lineman as eligible. He's just your tight end. And that's just a extreme advantage, especially when you want to run the ball like we do.
Well, and the other thing too is that first play of the game where he slips through the line, you get this jumbo package with essentially this tight end offensive lineman hybrid, and then he goes down the field for 35 yards. That's the type of stuff that you can do with Darnell Washington. And I have this feeling that the Steelers are trying, or they're almost unlocking his full potential because, I think they said, or Ian Eagle said a couple of times, I mean, he's a unicorn out there. He's insane. Like, he's so huge. And like, even looking at the size of his hands are ginormous. Like, that's the type of guy that you need to take advantage of. And heck, we got him in the 4th round, which is unreal. And I think, again, we're still just trying to figure out how we can use him to the best of his ability. And, as far as things go this week, we had a Connor Hayward touchdown. We had a Jonnu Smith jet sweep for 10 yards and a first down. We had a Darnell Washington massive play and a couple of big plays where they just couldn't tackle him. And, Pat Freiermuth is kind of the odd man out in a way, but, when he does see the field, he's doing a lot of blocking schemes and he's doing well in those aspects as well. So this overcrowded tight end room is really performing in a way that is benefiting us greatly, because outside of DK Metcalf, I mean, yes, Roman Wilson caught a ball this week, but outside of that, there's really not a whole lot else in the pass catching game. So the fact that our tight ends are really kind of carrying this offense is great. And I think over time, we're going to see the shift from, okay, these defenses are going to start to adapt to those tight end packages, and then they're going to forget about the other wide receivers that we have. And heck, they might even forget about DK Metcalf, even if that's possible. So I think it's really this type of game trends us in the right direction for the rest of the year. Again, it's against a bad Browns team, yes, but people are going to be watching this tape and they're going to be trying to figure out how to stop what we've got going on, especially on offense. And eventually, we're going to see that shift, the ebbs and the flows of how we use our offense. And if Mike Tomlin can adapt, then we're going to be in really good shape against these really good teams later on.
Right, and I think that credit to him for adapting so far in this season, and credit to Arthur Smith, too, because, I mean, he's really making an offense work with just one wide receiver. Like, he's really, and we were talking about how the schemes were a problem. I think he's adjusted his schemes, and he's realized, I'm going to make pass plays, and I'm going to make an offense that you really only need to have one receiver out there. Like, the other receiver who, whether it was Scotty Miller or Roman Wilson, they really did feel invisible and not necessary, and our offense still worked. And so I think that that's a huge adjustment by him. And another adjustment by him, again, is just targeting DK Metcalf more. I'm an Ohio State fan. I see so many similarities in Jeremiah Smith and DK Metcalf in that, we're saying the same thing that Ohio State fans say, that we say. It's just throw the ball to Jeremiah Smith. Make sure he gets 8-10 targets a game. That's all you have to do is just throw the ball his way. And I think that Ohio State does a really good job of that, and we've molded to that with DK Metcalf, where we are just throwing him the ball. All we have to do is just throw him the ball. And I think that's been super encouraging to see. And I think that, kind of looking ahead, kind of as, and not even to tomorrow, next week, but as a whole, this AFC North and this AFC is really ours to lose. I think that this AFC, and honestly the NFC too, has so much parity. And I think that we've said this the past couple of years, and this is the difference. Teams adjust and teams get better. The Eagles started 2-2 and then went on to win the Super Bowl and lost, I think, one more game. So they figured it out. The Chiefs looks like they're starting to figure it out again, especially now they're getting Rashee Rice back. Teams are going to figure this out. But right now, everybody's pretty even if anybody can win right now. And I think that we're taking advantage of that right now, but we need to grow too. We've got a huge advantage, a huge lead in the division. We're, I think, the number 2 seed in the AFC right now. We have, the only person that can get in our way right now is us. If we continue to play at the level we're playing and continue to adapt and grow like we haven't done in the past, but it looks like we are doing this year, the sky is the limit for this team because of how we started.
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that the AFC North, outside of the Steelers, has a 3-game losing streak or more right now is indicative of the state of what the division looks like. I mean, like you said, you don't want to get your head going too high, but at the same time, you look at the standings, in 2.5 seconds and you're like, what are we doing if we don't win the division this year? I mean, there's really no excuse to not win the division. I think Lamar's coming back this week, but again, I don't know if the Ravens are too far gone. I mean, they're 1-5. The Browns are now 1-5. The Bengals are 2-4. Did they have a bye? No, they did not have a bye. I think they're 2-4. So, that's kind of the state of where things are. And, they're not getting Joe Burrow back until probably December. So, I mean, what are we doing if we don't win the division this year? And the trajectory of where we're going, this is a big week against the Bengals because you can really bury them because at this point, they're really the only threat to you if the Ravens continue to reel. So, you have to take advantage of what's in front of you. And, I think a lot of people are saying, the Steelers haven't played anybody great. And, maybe that's true. But I don't think like you said, I don't think any team is really stuck out this year to say, I'm a Super Bowl contender. I mean, one week we think that's the case, and then the next week we're like, well, no, they're not, because then they have this crap loss or something like that. I think let me see. The Colts have one loss. The Bills have two losses now. Who else? Hold on. I'm pulling up the standings real fast.
In the AFC, I don't know if there's another team that has one loss. I know the Bucs have one loss. But yeah.
It's the Bucs. The Bucs have one loss. The Packers have one loss, but they also tied.
Right.
And then it's the Colts, who are 5-1, who are technically the best team in football, along with Tampa Bay. So, I mean, that's the whole thing, is nobody really knows if anybody is good this year. And even some of these bad teams, they're showing some flashes. I mean, the Giants absolutely whooped up on the Eagles this last week. So this year in the NFL is just on crack. And maybe it's the first time in a while that we're not going to see, oh, it's the Bills. Oh, it's the Chiefs. Oh, it's, the Texans. Maybe we're going to see this weird conglomeration of teams in the playoff picture this year.
And I really do hope so. And I think that that's what it looks like. Like, nobody looks above the rest. Like, sure, the first 4 weeks, Eagles, Bills, they were looking like it. But after these past 2 weeks, I mean, everybody looks susceptible. And everybody looks like they can lose to anybody, and anybody can beat anybody. I mean, look at the Seahawks, who we lost to. We were very low on them. Like, we, didn't think they were anything. They're 4-2. There are so many teams. The 49ers with Mac Jones and Brock Purdy, who's only played like 2 games, are 4-2. What? Like, what the heck? The Colts are a super out there team. The Jaguars also are doing really good, and they're random out there. But like, the Colts almost lost, who are the best team in the AFC. They almost lost to the Arizona Cardinals, who had the worst game imaginable against the Titans, then lost their starting quarterback, and only lost by 3 to the best team in the AFC. And then you go to the best team in the NFC, the Buccaneers. They've only had one win that was not one score. Every other win was like a heartbeat, like, down to the last second win. So, I mean, no one is standing out above the rest right now. And I think that that's super encouraging. And I think that that is encouraging, especially because of our schedule going down the stretch of all these really, really tough teams. The Lions don't look like the Lions last year. The Bills don't look like the Bills last year. The Ravens don't look like the Ravens the past 2 years. That is extremely encouraging looking forward at the rest of our season.
Now, my question to you is, if we end up winning the division, say at 11-6, 10-7, and we don't have like a marquee win this year, like say we kind of just coast in almost in the form that we have in these first 6 weeks, how confident would you be in a home playoff game against whoever that wild card team would end up being as we sit right now?
I'd be confident with 11 wins. Because I'm thinking right now, I'm just thinking, okay, take everything besides the division games aside. If we sweep the Bengals, we split with the Ravens, and we sweep the Browns, that puts us at 9 wins, and they all have at least 6 losses. And we're basically two games away from crunching the division, which is the 11 wins. I think 11 wins is the key here. I think we need to get to 11 wins. If we get those, I'm confident we can win a home playoff game. I think that our home field advantage is legit, especially in the playoffs. We haven't had it since 2020, which I'll say we haven't had it since 2017, because 2020 there was no fans. There may have been a very small amount, but none to actually make an impact. So I think that with an 11-win Steeler team winning the AFC North, I would be like, I think watching this game last week, and I get it, it's the Browns, and maybe I'm getting a lot of false hope, but I'm like looking at this team, and I'm like, this team might actually I think we would agree that the past few years, even though we're playoff teams, it doesn't look like teams that could win a playoff game. It doesn't look like teams that can make a difference in the playoffs. This team does. With Aaron Rodgers at the helm, I think this team could be the one to actually win and make a difference come December.
I'm getting nervous. I'm getting real nervous that we're starting to talk about this stuff, because I feel like we started to talk about this last year. I don't know if it was this early, but I don't know. I'm nervous with this conversation, and I think the conditioning over the last several years has created some pessimism in me, and ironically, you're the one that's kind of driving this conversation, which you're usually more pessimistic than I am.
I normally am, and I think it's just because I'm seeing things that we haven't seen in forever. The players getting better, the schemes changing and changing to our benefit. The defense improving. Like normally, it starts out red hot, and then maybe it tapers off a little bit. I mean, it's getting better. The players are getting better. We're getting healthier. Like everything is improving, and now I think that the only thing that gets in our way here, and the only thing that um, gets rid of this hope is that these other teams develop and scheme better than we can. Because we know, like I said about the Bills and Lions, the Ravens, that they aren't the same. But we know that they get better. Like, we know that they'll improve and they'll figure things out. The Bills, I'm not so sure. I think the Bills might be in for some trouble. Now that, I mean, Josh Allen, I don't know if he's going to be the one-man wrecking crew that he was last year. So I'm a little weary of them. But when it comes to the Lions, and we don't play them, but when it comes to the Chiefs and the Ravens this year they're making me doubt, but I still think they're going to figure things out. They're going to work through things. They're going to find ways to win. We've done that these past 2 weeks. Technically 3 because the bye week. We have to continue to do that. If we don't continue to do that, then everything we've said positive, you can just throw out the window because it's going to be what's happened the past few years. But if we can keep scheming right and keep developing and growing our players and getting them better, we do have a shot. But it's all, I think, on that. Those things have to be done, which we've been doing. So we can do it this year. I don't know why we'd stop.
Well, it's a quick turnaround now because we've got this Thursday night game. And here's a couple stats I just wanted to throw out there, which I'm sure you're going to love these. Under Tomlin, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 2-8 in road Thursday night football games, and they are 0-6 within the division in such games, and they have not won a road Thursday night football game since 2016, and it was against the Colts. So a lot of things pointing the wrong direction. The other couple of things that I wanted to say too, Mike Tomlin said that Calvin Austin is questionable this week, so I'm not sure if he'll play. Myles Killebrew, who had a pretty rough injury this last week, it looks like he is going to be out. I don't know how long-term that is, but I mean, he's one of those unsung guys that really just anchors the special teams unit, and I'm really hoping that somebody can step up in his place because he's one of those guys that, you don't talk about a whole lot, but, when I saw him go down, I was like, oh, no. Like, that was one of those hands-on-the-head type of moments.
Yeah, no, I was super disappointed to see that. I was lucky enough to see him speak at Liberty University when I was there my last year, and he's just a good guy, and I'm always rooting for him. And he is a great player. He's blocked a ton of punts. He is a special teams guru. So I really hope that he can recover and get back soon. But in the meantime, yeah, hopefully, I would love to see somebody try and fill those shoes. Even I would love to see here. I would love to see. I'm forgetting his first name. He's from Washington. Ricky Bruner, the linebacker we drafted, who they were high on because of special teams. I would love to see him kind of take a bigger role on the special teams and produce.
I think that's probably what's going to happen if I had to guess. Carson Bruner. I mean, he's been playing a handful of defensive snaps, but special teams was one of the primary reasons they drafted him. 7th round pick, kind of a throwaway type of thing, but in a way, this is a big opportunity for him to really step up in place of Myles Killebrew. So hopefully that's the case. Now, again, with this Thursday night's matchup, you said it, I think, a couple of weeks ago that, you were kind of weary on this game even before we started talking about this type of stuff because, not only is it a Thursday night game on the road, but it's in Cincy. And we just don't seem to like these types of games. And you were all over that a couple of weeks ago.
I was. I think it's red flag. I can just the last few night games that we've had in Cincinnati haven't gone well. I feel like even though the past 2 years when we've gone to Cincinnati, it's been like our best offensive performance of the year. I don't know. The short week does scare me a little bit, and I'm really torn because I think what I said a few weeks ago, and my initial thought is trap game loss. Now that they have Joe Flacco too, he beat us when he was with the Colts last year. I'm just like those are my initial thoughts. But then I was like, let me just think about it for a second. Their run game's struggling. We shut down a run game that was thriving. So I think we're going to handle the run game well. I think that our secondary with Jalen Ramsey is well equipped to battle these receivers, which are going to be tough. I think they'll definitely be better and have a better outcome than this Browns game, because like you said, Dylan Gabriel made a lot of nice throws. There was a lot of drops. And so I think that that's going to be a bit harder. I think that they're going to get a lot more yards, but I think that our secondary is still going to show up well. I think that defensively speaking, I know that they have tried to get better at defense. Trey Hendrickson is out, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I thought I heard something that I'll have to double check that.
I'll do that right now while you keep talking.
Okay. But I was going to say, I know that they've tried to revamp their defense. I'm not incredibly worried about it. I think that our run game can still succeed. I think that our pass protecting has obviously gotten better, and I think that I'm not too worried about their defense. I think our offense can do what it has been doing these past 2 games, and I think our defense with our pass rush is going to get to Joe Flacco. And like, unless we play extremely uncharacteristically at these past 2 games, like I don't see, like I think we can win.
Well, they should. There's no reason they shouldn't win this game.
Right.
I mean, again, the stats are stacked against you, but at the same time, the Bengals are like bottom in most every single category, not only defensively, but also offensively. Like they have been very poor in the rushing attack. Chase Brown has been not great at all, and they don't really have a backup that's doing anything either. And yes, like a lot of those stats are attributed to, Joe Burrow, and then Jake Browning. Jake Browning gets benched. Joe Flacco has a decent game this last week against the Packers, who are a mixed bag, but, it's one of those things where, they might improve, yes, and I think Mike Tomlin is anticipating that, but this is not a good Bengals team without Joe Burrow. And I just did check. Trey Hendrickson is questionable, so that's the designation for him right now. But I mean, again, with the trajectory that the Steelers are on and with the trajectory that the Bengals are on, they've lost 4 straight. And they're giving up a ton of points in every single game. And the Steelers have been scoring every single game. I mean, outside of that Seahawks loss, they're eclipsing 23 points every single day. So that's really like, the Steelers against a really good Browns defense, putting up 23 points and kind of piecing it together, getting a lot of field goals while also being able to find the end zone a couple of times with Connor Hayward and DK Metcalf. Like, the Bengals defense is not the Browns defense by any means, right?
Oh, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we really haven't seen, granted the first couple of weeks they were like holding some teams. Well, no, sorry. The only team that they really did well against was the Browns.
Right, right.
Other than that, there's been points, just like there was points last year. So again, I'm not worried about this defense. And with Joe Flacco, I would have loved to have seen Jake Browning in there instead because he's so turnover prone. But the statistics that are good for Joe Flacco in the last game were all really in garbage time. Like the Packers had really kind of handled that game, specifically the last touchdown. They were already up, I think, like, a couple scores. So yeah, he was keeping them kind of in it, but like he wasn't doing anything to even get them close to winning that game. So I know that the Packers have a good defense, and I think that their defense is probably, I think that we are similar to the Packers, except we have a better quarterback. And I think that we'll match up similarly to the Bengals, like what the Packers did this last week. So I really, even though like my off the impulse is like, oh, trap game, I'm like, I really think we'll win this game.
I'm really struggling to shake that trap game mentality because it's a short week. Again, you say it every time. The Bengals also have a short week. That is what it is. I don't know. I'm just really torn because I'm almost like here. Okay, this last week I said if we beat the Browns, then I'll start to get excited. And now I'm sitting here thinking about the Bengals, and I'm like, okay, I'm having to say the same thing. If we beat the Bengals, then I'll get excited. And I guarantee you, if we beat the Bengals, it'll be the next week I'll say, okay, if we beat the Packers, then I'll be excited. So I don't know if this is me just delaying all my excitement, but I just don't know. Like I'm still in that like mildly pessimistic mindset.
Well, and I think that, it is definitely a pull to go there. And I think that, even when we beat the Browns and I was happy, but I was thinking about this game because I was like, this game is as much a trap game as the Browns game was. And I was like, if we lose this game, honestly, I'll be like, everything I just said, forget about it, because I'll be like, it's the same old Steelers. Like every given Sunday, you never know what's going to happen. But if we can beat them, like, on a short week, and granted, I want to say, yeah, it's a short week, but is it? We had a bye week before the 1-4 Browns. I mean, I would be shocked if we weren't also thinking about the Bengals game too during this bye week and week leading up to the Browns. Because, I mean, come on. Was anybody giving the Browns a shot in this game? I mean, actually, some people kind of were. Apparently, my dad was saying on SportsCenter. But I don't know. I feel like the bye week cancels out the short week in a way. And yeah, I'm just gonna go on hope and say that we're gonna win this game and hope that we are better than we have been the past few games. But if we lose this game, I think that like everything's back up in the air. Who knows what's gonna happen? But if we can win this game, I think it really shows something. No matter what happens with the week after with Green Bay.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm super torn because this whole like 3 days. I mean, we're recording this on Wednesday, so the game's tomorrow. I mean, all I've been thinking about since the Browns is like, we better beat them. We better beat the Bengals. And if we don't, then I'm in the same boat as you. And it's like, okay, was this all for naught? I don't know. I'm still torn, but I'm going to say a win. I'm going to say that the Steelers win this one. I think it's going to be higher scoring. I mean, the fact that we keep scoring over 20 points in these wins is very encouraging for me. And again, Rodgers is just throwing such a good ball. And if the Browns defense is still giving up this much to the Steelers, then I can't imagine that the Bengals defense is going to hold us to any less. So I'm going to say that the Steelers are going to win this one. I have a feeling they might crack 30 again. Actually, they might be right around 30 exactly. I'm going to say the Steelers win this one by a score of 30-25. I think we're going to get some weird stuff, and I think it's going to be a close game. These Thursday night games, the AFC North Thursday night games, like they find a way to equalize the playing field in a way, and I think that this week is no different.
Yeah, I think it's going to be high scoring. I'm going to go with you and say a win. I'm debating in my mind if it's going to end up being a close game or not. But I think it'll be semi-close. But I think, yeah, we'll win. I think we'll crack 30. I think it'll be 31-24.
Okay. So, still a one-score game, but at the same time, we're still putting up a lot of points. And again, I hope that this is one of those where your dad was saying, it's Aaron Rodgers against a poverty franchise, and he walks in there in a primetime game, and he just takes care of business. I think that's kind of what we're having to hope for, and hopefully that's the mindset that Aaron Rodgers has. I mean, we can't talk enough good about him and how well he's been playing, so hopefully that trend continues and the Bengals defense doesn't have this enlightenment of some sorts in their defense.
Right, yeah, hopefully not. And I think that, I trust Aaron Rodgers to be ready. I hope that our coaches and play callers are as well. And I think that, I don't really they did an amazing job against one of the best defenses in the league. Like, this isn't the best defense in the league. This is a bottom tier defense. Like, just go and do what works and make it happen.
Yep, you got to do that. That's kind of what you got to do. Walk in your trap, take over your trap, That's kind of what we got to do.
Man.
All right. Well, this has been a good episode of the Boardman Black and Gold podcast. A lot of hesitant positivity abounds, and hopefully the Steelers can get a here we go win against the Cincinnati Bengals on this Thursday night. A little bit of a quick turnaround. I was in the hospital yesterday, so I couldn't record yesterday as I wanted to, but we're back. We're all good, and we're ready to go for this Bengals week. And as always, Boardman Black and Gold is sponsored by Zecca Enterprises, crafting furniture solutions in northwestern Pennsylvania. Call 919-406-4679 to turn your furniture problems into furniture solutions. Any last thoughts, David?
No, I will say that this is probably one of the most positive episodes we've had in a long time. So hopefully that keeps running. I fear that the past 2 years when we've had the most positive episode, we get grounded back to earth. But I'm hoping that this is the year that we just keep going to the moon. I don't know.
Yeah. I think the whole thing is you're absolutely right. Whenever we do have positive episodes, we very much always follow them up with very negative episodes. So hopefully we don't do that.
Hopefully not. But again, like we were saying, if any year is the year for a Steelers team that, has looked the way it's looked these past couple of years, but like also, how it's looking this year, this is the year. It feels like this year is all over the place. Anybody can win. I feel like this is a perfect soil for the Steelers to succeed.
Yep. Well, we'll see what happens on this Thursday night game. As always, looking for a Here We Go Steelers win. We'll be back next week, hopefully around that Tuesday mark. We will have the Bengals recap, and then we'll talk about the Packers. But we can't get too far ahead of ourselves. We got a short week this week, so we're going to see what we can do against the Bengals tomorrow night on a beautiful Thursday night football game. Thanks as always for listening to Boardman Black and Gold. I'm Zane Bloom with David DeSantis. We will see you next week.